Brodes Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, the Rams it is. They stink too. Yo, the Birds are going to murder them. Just like they did when they went to L.A. just a tad bit ago. 37-20. Saquon Barkley had 300 yards himself. The dude started off the second half with a one-play, 70-yard home run hit to the house. And that's after Vic Fangio shut Sean McVay down. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. After they started the game off with life, Vic put the damn clamps on him. And he's going to do it again. Even without N'Kobe. And that's a big loss. He's sort of been under the radar. Ew. Now, we knew he had a good season, but, I mean, because of Zach Bond being a first-team All-Pro and Saquon getting 2,000 yards, yeah, it somewhat goes off to the side. But he's been really good. I still have so much faith in this number one overall defense. What went down against Minnesota won't happen Sunday because we actually have balls. Sam Darnold crumbled. He folded because he's nowhere on the level of what we have here. You could see it in his face. He wanted nothing to do with the bright lights. While Jalen, he handles it, and he handles it maturely with poise. That's something I learned from Vikings Rams. Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Sam Darnold. Look, Sam Darnold, they won, 13, 14 games? They were ready to have a number one seed and a bye if they could have got their head out of their asses. But sometimes the moment, the pressure, it gets big and people crack. I'll tell you who doesn't. Jalen. And then he's got to deal with national media saying he stinks and can't throw for 7 days a week. Tie that together with some local people who don't have faith in him. And all he does is go to work. All he does is lead a franchise. All he does is win football games. Every single time he laces the cleats, every time he puts on those shoulder pads, wins. It's unbelievable. And he's going to do it against Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. Can't wait. Hey, listen, we'll continue. And, of course, we'll talk about my great friends over at DraftKings. Playoffs, we're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings. The number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Yo, the Birds, all right? You see that nice spread opened up at around 6 points. Of course, lines and odds are subject to change, but you know where I'm headed. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BRODES. That's code BRODES for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Vic Fangio is going to have a field day. It's going to be electric. The first drive, LA went 5 plays, 53 yards before Rodgers snuck in there. This team is so lethal. You saw it last week when Green Bay had to go to Glover, their backup left guard. He's pouting on the sidelines because he knew he had one shot at making his NFL dream a reality. Dude gets toasted nonstop. Goodbye. While we once had to work with Fred Johnson and nobody even knew that Mailata wasn't playing. And think about that. No, we did. But you get my point. And now I'm referencing Darius Slay's backup whenever he goes in and out, and he probably will miss some amount of snaps because Slay has all year. Isaiah Rodgers, dating back to the last 2 times these teams met, he makes an impact play on the first drive as LA seemed to move the sticks. We're different. What we are capable of doing here is different. Jalen, different. He's a winner. I still want to get more into the Jalen stuff. I guess to summarize all of that, there's 2 things that I missed out on. What makes Jalen special, and I forget where I heard this from. I think it was one of those clips that the facility tweets out on Fox Sports 1. But it was something along the lines of, if Jalen needed, let's say 28 instead of, how many did they finish with? 22 points or so? Yeah, 22. If Jalen needed 28, he would have gotten it. If Jalen needs 18, he'd get 18. If Jalen needs 21 to win, he gets 21. Whatever he needs on that given day. So against Green Bay, he didn't need 37. But guess what? If the Birds need 37, you get 37. Jalen just wins. And Jalen's a big part of why you even got the Dallas Goedert touchdown, because he checked to that play. And while it wasn't the most precise pass, and Goedert showed off his individual effort too with the few stiff arms and the original catch, without Jalen checking to that and going to that play, you don't get it. So I just feel one of the things that I learned about the playoffs through the wild card round, and as we looked at what went down Monday night and with the Vikings in totality, there's something that you can't really quantify. Is that the right way to describe it? That tongue twister threw me off. I guess I'm trying to say here, the attitude that Jalen brings, that we all discussed throughout the 17 regular seasons or regular season games. This is when that shines. This is when you see other quarterbacks fail miserably, where they look lost. Sam Darnold, I'm seeing the same Jets meme that I've seen my whole life of it, you staring into the abyss as if there's a ghost and you have no answers and you're afraid to even be on the field. Jalen doesn't seem overwhelmed in that respect. And that's a big baseline to cover. If you can't cover that as a starting quarterback in this league, then how are you ever going to get it done in the postseason? I'm sure there's Hurts haters out there that are pissed off with me making this type of statement, but it's the truth. It's not a number. It's not on a box score. It's not something that you can actually record down as a statistic. Now, Todd Bowles may have the answers against you in a couple of playoff losses. That doesn't mean you can't handle it. Some of these kids, some of these young ones, I start to wonder, can you even handle it? You got to have that as a foundation piece first. And Jalen does probably to the best of the best's ability to block out all the noise and just win. It's the truth. All right, so how about this? Who was I rooting for when it was Rams-Vikings? I was rooting for the Rams, but I could understand if you wanted Minnesota because, let's be honest, the quarterback play is definitely different from an experienced Matthew Stafford. I still don't think this Rams team is good, though. Do not get fooled by what happened against Mitty. That's not us. That game wasn't at the Link. That game wasn't a home field advantage. That was just a taste of a Philadelphia crowd in that wild card round. This is for a chance to play in the NFC Championship game. And if Daniels keeps going, and if he keeps being that dog, there's a chance he exposes a broken down Lions defense, and we actually get the benefit and get a home game. That is not ruled out. Is it likely? Not going to say yes. But let's not act like it is far away from us. It's not either. Matthew Stafford and the Rams, they weren't doing what they did against Minnie all year long. While after the Eagles kicked their ass, they did have a really good win against the Buffalo Bills, 44-42 on Sunday, December 8th. They only scored 12 points to beat the 49ers the following week. They won 12-6. They beat the useless, embarrassing New York Jets 19-9. They beat the Arizona Cardinals 13-9. In two of their wins in December, they scored 12 and 13, and they were consistently scoring under 20. Do you realize the difference between what we provide as a defense and some of those sloppy trash, the sloppy nonsense that I just gave you? We will eat Sean McVay alive. He may have a different way about attacking, considering, well, Vic Fangio slaughtered him last time. And once he gives it a whirl, I'm sure there may be some version of success. But wait until the mastermind starts putting all the equations together in his head, and he starts to see all the numbers, and they start to align, and he goes, yeah, okay, watch this. Then he's forcing the Rams to punt. And nothing is more dangerous than when the crowd is so on their feet for a chance to go to the NFC Championship game, and your defense just stops Cooper Kupp. Your defense stops Puka again. You think they're going to get to the quarterback at the same pace they did a day ago? Come on. Lane Johnson doesn't give up sacks. He probably doesn't even remember. Actually, he does. It was because it's so rare to ever allow a sack if you are Lane Johnson. So I'm sure it sticks in his crawl big time. And he does know. He probably knows time, the score, the date, the hour, the city, how many days he was in the city before that game, what he ate before he went to the city, before he played that game, because he just doesn't allow sacks. Yet, I'm supposed to believe that Verse is going to sack Jalen Hurts 4 times next game? Please. You want to know who is going to have a couple of sacks, though? His name rhymes with Bolin Biff. Nolan Smith, baby. This guy's a warrior. Another one who just blocks out all the noise and just goes. He was treated like BG early. He was treated like Jalen early. Now he's getting more than 1 sack in a playoff game and taking over at times. Unreal. I must say, though, and this is me just being an absolute jerk-off, I don't think he's got the best swag. He gets it done. But look, in any sport, there's guys that don't have swag, but they do good things. I don't know. Nolan Smith got that swag on the field. You can look a little cooler. Am I being a jerk off? It's all fun and games, of course. I'm just kind of messing around. So, Sean McVay, little boy genius, Mr. Creativity. I'm pretty positive, well, we met in the trenches last time. That creativity hit a wall. And it can only carry you so far. I think Matthew Stafford's a pro. I think he understands what playoff moments are like. But this defense isn't just getting a turnover. They're getting multiple turnovers. Right? There's a big difference if you're getting a forced fumble a game. That swings a ton. That could be the difference. You walk out of there with the big dub and moving on and having another week. So it matters. Yet we're snagging multiple interceptions. In the middle of the field, Zach Bond on a route with Darius Slay. Sticky glue all over your wide receiver. Probably your best wide receiver, too. Clamping him up. Turning his head. Perfect. It's probably that pudding that Jennifer Slay makes. What does she make? Banana pudding? Ew. I say that in a good way. That's probably what it is. Where are you going to, and listen to this next part, going to operate at a high enough clip for 4 quarters against the Eagles on the road? For 4 quarters. Not a half a quarter, not a full quarter, not a half. To beat this team, you need to do it over 4 quarters. But I promise you, by the end, just like every other team that faces us and thinks that they have a good enough shot, you run out of gas. There's no steam left because you get worn down. It's overbearing. If you can't get to the quarterback in the first quarter when you're not tired yet, wait to see what happens midway through the third when the Birds are leaning on their run game again and Saquon gets going. We can't overlook the fact that the last time these two teams met, 300. No one man is supposed to do that. But you're flawed. The Rams' offense is nowhere even close to as lethal as what transpired against Minnesota and Arizona. It's not. It was a good day for them, and I thought Minnesota knew that their quarterback don't got it. And once you start losing faith in that man, it bleeds negatively throughout the entire sideline. And then the head coach was showing signs of frustration. He's yelling at the ref. There was that Matthew Stafford toss where he tried to toss it, and the replay showed it wasn't a scoop and score. You're not going to get that, though, from Vic. Now, remember we talked a lot about Jalen and the offense? Because as I mentioned Vic Fangio there, I went, well, I didn't say Kellen Moore. So Dan Orlovsky spent all that time on Monday discussing Jalen and the concepts in the passing game and it not really clicking to him. Well, our very own Jason Avant, who played that position and knows what it's like to, get some receptions out there, he also wonders in what universe are some of these plays getting called, and he even wonders what the designs are from the rip. Now listen, Dan Orlovsky played a lot of football. Jason Avant played a lot of football. They're breaking down the tape. I'm not an all-22 guy. I know there's people out there that do it. I don't do it to the tape studiers. The tape studiers and people who played professionally in this league do have some head-scratching stuff. Then, even take it further, Seth Joyner commented and also mentioned something about just the way the weirdness is with some of the ideas throughout the scheme. There's got to be something to it. And I also feel there's something to the A.J. Brown missing practice in the middle of the week stuff, too. This one is somewhat not even getting attacked at all. But is it possible that, 1, Jalen needs to be better, 2, the concepts aren't great, and 3, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are actually battling something worthy of talking about? It looked as if A.J. Brown wanted to practice on Wednesday, and the Eagles thought it was so serious enough to say, yo, dude, no, get out of here. And if you listen to AJ prior to the Green Bay matchup, he really talked about how it hurt him last year, even though he wasn't with the team, to miss out on that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He got hurt late in the season. He went to some boxing match, didn't go to the game in Tampa. He did reflect on that, though, and he mentioned how he needs to be here for his teammates, and he wants to be here for his teammates, considering he couldn't be a year ago. So is he forcing himself? Not forcing himself. He probably is good enough to compete to some level, but is it limiting him more than we ever thought? Is there some decoy involved in a way? We're sure he can get more than 2, 3, 4 targets, but I'm not leaning on him with 10. He's going to go out on Sunday, by the way, and have a hundo, because that's what he did the last time these two teams faced each other. So for all that claim, Jalen is only a one-trick pony who's done it this way all year, well, not true, because we almost saw 40 on the board in LA. And that was a game on the road. And granted, yes, Eagles fans travel very well to make that obnoxious and loud too. But imagine it all being Philadelphia. So I don't think that this Rams team is much different than a Green Bay team. I think they're in a similar tier. Probably a better head coach and better quarterback. But it's not as if Matthew Stafford's 28, you know? He does have some miles on the tires, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get some pressure on him, make him move a little bit, get him uncomfortable, that we can eventually take over, and Jalen Carter can get into the backfield. Nolan Smith again gets into the backfield. Maybe Zach Bond gets into the backfield. You're going to see Vic Fangio earn his paycheck once again. This Rams team is in a tier below. You're winning games against San Fran by scoring 12 points. You're beating Arizona by scoring, 13 points. These are not impressive wins down the stretch, and they don't have that DNA the way we do, where you're so good you find ways to win. You won 10 regular season games, okay? When you win 14 and you find ways to win, and you've done it for a good length now with Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback. The sample size is large. You don't have that greasy, grindy Rams offense under Matthew Stafford. He won because he's got a really good arm and he places the ball in areas where only great quarterbacks can. That's why you won. The greasiness of it, that's not this Rams DNA. That's not their MO. So don't give me because they score 12, that's their MO. That's a disappointing Rams offense. They are built based off of Sean McVay and his decisions with the playbook. That's what it comes down to. The way we're built, we have that greasy QB who doesn't lose. You got an offensive line that's the best in the league. You got the best running back in the league, and you got the best defense in the league. We got many different ways to suffocate you. And I can't wait to watch it all happen. All right, listen, we're going to take your phone calls. But first, I have to tell you about my friends over at HelloFresh. So just to be clear, I am recording this show on Tuesday night. This becomes active on Wednesday. But because this is sort of also utilized as the Wednesday show, if you are listening to this on Wednesday, this is now active. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes that are delivered right to your doorstep. So skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. A crazy schedule can make it easy to fall back into your dinner time recipe rut, which I most recently did, and it sucked, but now I'm back in rhythm. And keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every week. So there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. HelloFresh does all the shopping and meal planning for you, so the ingredients arrive right at your doorstep, pre-portioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. How easy is that? Go to HelloFresh.com/Brodes50 and use code Brodes50 for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/Brodes50 for 50% off plus free shipping. It is America's #1 meal kit. It has changed my life insanely. And I've told you this before. HelloFresh is the greatest way to go about dinner on a day-to-day basis. Make sure you check it all out down below in the description. All right, let's go to the phones. Rock your calls. Eagles, Rams. How about it?
Yo, what's up, Brodes? I wanted to call you today, really just to talk about this aspect. Kellen Moore's play calling yesterday, because I think that's not getting talked about enough. I know you touched on it a bit, but I would like to get more of your input on it. Because listen, Jalen did not play well, and I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. I like Jalen a lot, and there's a reason why he's won a lot of football games in his career, because he's a damn good player. But he did not play as efficient as he should have yesterday, even though his stats, again, are not bad whatsoever. But I thought Kellen Moore did kind of a piss-poor job at calling plays, especially in the first half. I thought he did not get Saquon involved enough early. Some of those third down play calls were putrid. Like, what the hell was that swing route on 3rd and 5? I believe the Eagles had a 7-0 lead at that point, and then they obviously had to punt. It's just a dumb play call. There was a run on 3rd and 11, just like an inside zone to Saquon. Like, some of these play calls were just trash.
I agree. I am not the biggest fan of Kellen Moore. I think he's fine. I think he's okay. I think he brings a good foundation to an NFL offense. But if this is it, and this is what he maxes out as, then he's nowhere close to what he was once promised to be. And maybe there's a reason why he's on his 3rd team already, right? Dallas, LA, now here. So there's a lot to be said about that. I almost wonder, though, with those 3rd down calls, that seemed to be more processed prior to the game. I almost feel that was a plan that was set by Nick Sirianni, the head coach. And it's funny because for as much as we assume that they want to be aggressive and Howie in these analytics and Doug Peterson and going for it on 4th, it's almost like they flipped the script completely. And now they told Jalen, don't put the ball in harm's way. Don't worry about throwing the ball and threading the needle. We'd rather you just put it out of bounds and live another down so we don't turn the rock over. And also, they seem to be timid with some field goal stuff because of Jake Elliott. And to me, that was by design. I don't know if I hate it or love it, because I think the reason why you win more than anything else with this team is the defense. They're the #1 defense. It's the defense. So if you rely on that the same way a high-powered offense would, and if it's the #1 defense in the league, meaning not one is even on your level, shouldn't you win games through that? Shouldn't you ask them to do the work that they earned, the respect that they earned? Go get us some turnovers. Let's go, baby. We'll punt. I don't know if I love it or hate it, because you're right. There's something off about this Kellen Moore stuff. But if that's the case and you're aware of it, isn't it on the coaches to adjust and recognize this is what puts us in the best position to succeed? It might not be what we prefer. It may not be what we thought it would be before the first game of the year, but this is where we are. And a good coaching staff would monitor that and put their best foot forward instead of asking Jalen to do something that he isn't. I don't know. And not to say that this Jalen isn't good. It is. It is. The no turnovers thing mattered a lot. Not a little, not a minor, a lot. It was actually outside of the defense turning the ball over and forcing Green Bay to turn it over. Number 2 on the list could be Jalen not turning it over. It could have been number 2 on the list of reasons why you won. It's that important. I'm going to go back to the ones who play the game and study the tape more on a professional level. My take is my alarms are going off because of what the pros are saying. The ones who really dive into the all-22. These are respected minds that I know are good at what they do. Now, the question is, why is it that way? Is it because Kellen Moore stinks? Or is it because they feel Jalen's limited, so they don't ask him to do the more difficult stuff? That's for another day, because this version of Jalen is still killer. All right, let's go to Jacob in Kentucky.
Hey, Brodes. Of course, after another Philadelphia win where the offense wasn't as spectacular as it's been in previous years and at their height, the biggest talking point from national media is about a fucking book. And I guess one of the biggest detractors would be Greg Jennings. Well, I looked into his numbers, his career overview, and I guess that's why Greg Jennings only had 2 Pro Bowls and A.J. Brown's been All-Pro 3 years in a row with Philly. So I don't know. I think that he's doing the right thing. I wouldn't get distracted by national media pundits saying that they know what they're talking about whenever they really, really don't. We're going to roll the Rams. I know that they look really good against the Vikings, but, man, this defense is the best in the NFL, the best the Eagles have ever had, and I expect them to win pretty big. So let's go.
I do, too. That's my original early thoughts on this matchup is good. I prefer the Rams. I'm glad we got the Rams. Their offense is overrated. They didn't finish that strong this season compared to the rest of the teams. Yo, put the hand in the dirt, and we are about to do one thing and one thing only. Bend them over! Just saying. Verse, the only reason why Verse is going to be brought up on the broadcast is how come he's not making more of an impact? And then they go, oh yeah, because see that man number 65? Or see that man who is a mammoth? Or see that man who's 300 pounds next to the guy who's 300 pounds next to the guy who's 300 pounds next to the guy? That's Cam Jurgens, who was handpicked by Kelsey, and he's going to, actually, if I do the math, too many guys, you'd probably be on like left guard or something, maybe. I don't know how many I counted. And he's in the secondary with his forearm planted into your chest. And Saquon is moving down, skipping down the sidelines. Oh, ew. Saquon, this might be the first time you're hearing this, but Saquon Barkley put up 300 yards against Los Angeles. Now he's going to be at home. Unreal. Also, do not forget about my friends over at Garage Beer. It's the best light beer in the entire world. 0% IPA, 100% light beer, 1,000% quality. It's the best beer on planet Earth. You walk into a party, you got cases of Garage Beer. They flock. I'm telling you, they flock. DrinkGarageBeer.com. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. You can also take this show on the road with you by searching Sports Talk with Brodes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Ratings and reviews mean the absolute world. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all on the next one.